Now we're going to look at writing equations of lines based on different information that's given to us. For this first one, we're given the actual line and we just have to write the equation of the line. First thing we need to do is find the slope. So in order to find the slope, we're going to take the 2 points that are here, 0, 4, and 3, negative 2, and the slope formula, and we're going to solve using these 2 points. So again, we've got the two y's, so it's 4 minus a negative 2, and then for the x's we've got 0 minus 3. That gives us 6 over negative 3, which is negative 2. The other thing we need to notice, and this is most of the case not true, but in this case we're given the y-intercept. The y-intercept means where it crosses the y-axis, and if you notice, this point is where it crosses the y-axis. So the nice thing is if we put it in the form y equals mx plus b, our slope, or our m, is negative 2, and our y-intercept ends up, negative 2, and our y-intercept ends up being 4. So in this case, the y-intercept is 4 because the point 0, 4 is on the y-axis. So if we were to if we were to write the equation, we plug in negative 2 for our slope, and we plug in 4 for our y-intercept, and there's our answer. Most of the time the y-intercept needs to be calculated, and I'll show you how to do that next. For this next one, we are given a point, and then we're given a line that's supposed to be parallel to the equation that we want to write. So first of all, we need to know the slope. Remember that if we have parallel lines, they have the same slope. So the first part of this, we look to find the slope. The slope of a line that's parallel to this will have the same slope as this. So the slope here would be 2. So far, if we were to write y equals mx plus b, we could plug in the 2 and we would have y equals 2x plus b. So it would look something like this. Oh, sorry, let's back it up. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to plug in the slope here, and then for x and y we're going to plug in negative 1 comma 1 because that's the point that is on the line. So again, here's slope intercept. We're going to plug in the slope here, and we're going to plug in the point, the x and y coordinates of the point here. So the slope was 2, and remember x and y, the point that was on the line was negative 1 comma 1. We solve this for b, we get 1 equals negative 2 plus b. And if we do negative 2 plus b, let me just show you that step real quick. So we would have had 1 equals negative 2 plus b. We would have added 2 to both sides. We get b is equal to 3. Now that we have our slope, which is 2, and our y-intercept, which is b, we would have y equals 2x plus 3. And that's our equation. Okay? We do another one just like this. Again, the first thing we need to do, this time, it's perpendicular to the line that's shown there. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find the perpendicular slope, which remember again is the opposite reciprocal, and then do the same thing that we did before. So first of all, we know that the slope of k is negative 2, and we want to find the slope of line j, which is going to be the new line. Remember that it's going to be opposite reciprocals, so the opposite reciprocal of negative 2, we flip it, we get negative 1/2, and then we change the sign, it's positive 1/2. So again, we've got negative 2 times m equals negative 1. We divide both sides by negative 2, and we get negative 1 over negative 2, which is 1/2. So now that we have the slope and we have a point, we can plug that into y equals mx plus b. So we're going to take this slope and this point and plug it into the y equals mx plus b form. So 1/2 will go right here, and then 2 will go in for x, 3 will go in for y. We'll get something like this. We multiply these two, we'd get 1, so we'd get 3 equals 1 plus b. Subtracting 1 from both sides, we would get b equals 2. And then we have our y-intercept is 2, our slope is 2. We plug it into y equals mx plus b, and I'm sorry, our slope is not 2. Our slope is 1/2. Our y-intercept is 2. We're going to plug that in, and if we do that, we get the slope is, the equation of the line is y equals 1/2 x plus 2. If you wanted to, you could check just by plotting both of the lines. The y-intercept here is 2, and the slope is -2, so we'd start at 2 on the y-axis, go down 2 over 1. For the other one, we know that the y-intercept is at 2, and this time, since the slope is positive 1/2, we'd go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and if you look, the lines are perpendicular there. Here's another example. I think this one they give you the answer, so I'm going to go through and show it to you. We start off finding the slope, and we take the two y's, so that would be 1 minus a -1, and on the bottom we would have 3 minus 0. So on top we have 2, and on the bottom we have 3. My y-intercept, my b, is going to end up being -1 because this point is crossing the y-axis at 1. So my equation would be y equals 2/3 x minus 1. Again, not the case most of the time. So there's our answer. And we'll do one where they just give us 2 points. In this case, again, we find the slope. So we're going to do the y's first. We get 5 minus 2, and for the x's we would get -2 minus 1. If we do that, we have 3 on top and -3 on the bottom. My slope is now -1. We're going to take one of these 2 points, and I'm going to take this point because it has all positive numbers. We're going to take the equation y equals mx plus b. We're going to plug in this x and this y, so this x and this y, and then this slope right here. So that gives us, for our y is 2, our slope is -1, our x coordinate is 1 plus b. That's the same as 2 equals -1 plus b. And adding 1 to both sides, we get b is equal to 3. Now we have our slope and our y-intercept. Our equation is y equals -1x or -x plus 3. Again, our slope is -1, so it's -x. Our y-intercept is 3. Okay. And here's another one where we want it to be parallel to the given line and going through this point. So remember, parallel lines mean the slopes are the same. So if we look at this, we have got y equals 3x minus 5. The slope of this line is 3, and the slope of a parallel line is also 3, because these should be equal. Then we take y equals mx plus b, and we're going to plug in this slope, and then we're going to plug in this point. So we have an x here and a y here. The y is 5, so we write 5, and the slope is 3 times 1 plus b. That gives us 5 equals 3 plus b, subtracting 3 from both sides. B is equal to 2. So we've got a y-intercept of 2, a slope of 3. Our equation is y equals 3x plus 2. I'm not going to graph this, but I'll show you what the graph would look like. So here are the two graphs. The first one, we've got, let's see, a y-intercept of -5. So we plot a point at -5 on the y-axis. Then we go up 3 over 1. That gives us this point. For the other one, we've got the y-intercept is at 2, which was the equation we found. And we'd go up 3 over 1. That would give us 2 lines that are parallel. And how do we know if these are perpendicular to each other? Let me go over what that would look like, because people sometimes have trouble with this. The way that I remember these types of equations is I look at this as telling me which axis it's going through. So I'm going to plot this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. What this line is telling me is that it's going through the x-axis at 4, and all the x values will be 4 when we graph them. So for example, 4, 0 is a point, so we would go 4, 0. 4, 1 is a point. 4, 2 is a point. 4, negative 1 is a point. All of those are points. So it's going through the x-axis at 4. If we were to graph this, I'll do it in blue, it would look something like that. So this is the line x equals 4. You can imagine if x equals 4 gives us a vertical line, then y equals 2 gives us a horizontal line. Because 0, 2 is going to be a point, 1, 2 is going to be a point, 2, 2 is going to be a point. So if we were to graph this line, it would look something like that. And how do we know these are perpendicular? Well, if we have a horizontal line and a vertical line, those are automatically perpendicular. So again, this line is y equals 2, this line is x equals 4. Again, one's vertical, one's horizontal, that makes them perpendicular. And we're done here. Thank you.